If you're running a generator, welder, or any other piece of equipment that needs more than the built-in fuel tank can handle, you've probably felt the frustration of stopping work to refuel. That's where an auxiliary tank like the RDS MFG RDS 71789 comes in. It's a 51-gallon rectangular fuel tank designed to mount alongside your equipment and extend your runtime without constant refills. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. This isn't just a bigger can of gas, it's a practical solution for people who actually use their gear in the field. Whether you're a contractor on a remote job site, a farmer keeping irrigation pumps running, or a homeowner with a backup generator during outages, the need for extra fuel is real. The 51-gallon capacity gives you a solid buffer, especially if you're running equipment that burns through fuel quickly. But before you hit add to cart, it's worth asking, does this tank actually fit your setup, and will it save you time or just create new headaches? Let's start with the basics. The RDS 71789 is a rectangular auxiliary tank, which means it's built to bolt onto the side of your equipment or a trailer. That's helpful if you already have a rack or mounting plate, but if you're expecting it to just slide into place, you might be disappointed. The tank itself is sturdy, but the real work comes in the installation. You'll need to plan for fuel lines, a pump if you want automatic transfer, and proper venting to avoid pressure buildup. If you're not comfortable with basic fuel system work, this isn't a plug-and-play solution. That's a common oversight people make. They assume the tank will just work without considering the plumbing. One of the standout features is the top fill design, which allows you to siphon fuel from the top of the tank. That's useful if you're using gasoline, since it keeps sediment and debris out of your fuel line. But here's the catch: if you're using diesel, you'll need to be extra careful about condensation and water separation. Diesel tanks are more forgiving with bottom fills, but this one doesn't have that option. If you're running diesel equipment, you might want to consider a different tank with a drain plug or a different fill location. The 51-gallon capacity is a sweet spot for many users. It's large enough to keep a generator or welder running for hours without refueling, but not so massive that it becomes a storage nightmare. For example, if you're running a 12,000-watt generator at half load, you're looking at roughly 1 gallon per hour. That means this tank could theoretically keep your generator running for 2 solid days before needing a refill. That's a game changer if you're in a situation where fuel deliveries are unreliable or you're working in a remote area. But let's talk about the trade-offs. The tank is made of steel, which is durable but also heavy. Empty, it weighs about 120 pounds, and when it's full, you're adding another 350 pounds of fuel. That's a lot of weight to haul around, especially if you're mounting it on a trailer or a truck rack. If your setup isn't designed to handle that kind of load, you could run into stability issues. Also, the rectangular shape isn't the most aerodynamic, so if you're towing it long distances, expect some wind resistance. Another practical consideration is the transfer method. The tank is designed for auxiliary fueling, but it doesn't come with a pump or transfer system built in. You'll need to source your own fuel pump, lines, and possibly a switch to control the flow. That adds to the cost and complexity, but it's also what gives you flexibility. If you already have a fuel transfer setup, this tank integrates smoothly. If not, you'll need to budget for those extras. So, who should buy this tank? If you're someone who regularly runs equipment that consumes a lot of fuel, like a welder on a construction site, a generator during a power outage, or a pump in agriculture, this tank is a solid investment. It'll save you time and frustration by reducing refueling stops. But if you're only using it occasionally or your setup can't handle the weight, it might not be worth the hassle. Who should skip it? If you're looking for a quick, no-fuss solution, this isn't it. The installation and integration require some planning and possibly additional parts. If you're not comfortable working with fuel systems, you might want to hire a professional or consider a simpler solution. Also, if you're using diesel and need a bottom fill option, this tank isn't the best fit. The RDS 71789 isn't the flashiest product, but it's one of those tools that quietly solves a real problem. It's not for everyone, but for the right person, it's a game changer. If you've been burning through fuel faster than you can refill, and you're ready to